Thank you. I want to thank the Chairman for yielding the gavel to me during this period of asking questions, and I want to thank the Ranking Member, Mr. Quigley. This is a bipartisan issue. If you notice, the topic of this hearing is not the auto bailout, the questions of whether or not it should have been done or shouldn't have been done. The topic is the Delphi pensions, those who did not receive the top-up or their pensions being held, in fact, had their pensions reduced, and the involvement of the Auto Task Force and these three gentlemen and their refusal to participate in that. The GAO report did not have information for determining their role or their responsibilities. And Mr. Bloom, you've said that you've testified a number of times, but as you acknowledged in your own testimony, you did not testify concerning this topic because you claimed that there was ongoing litigation that would prevent you to stand in front of Congress and tell the truth. Mr. Feldman, do you have a medical condition that affects your memory?
I do not. Great.
Thank you. Because in your testimony, you've foreshadowed that you might claim that you don't remember this stuff. When you go before SIGTARP or when the other questions are asked for you in this committee, and I would want to invite you to have a refreshed memory because of two things. One, when we pull up your law firm's advertisement of what you do, not only do they recognize that you have a practice that's complex litigation, assuming that clearly you recall it. But the very first thing it tells is that in March 2009 you were recruited to serve as the chief legal advisor for the strategy to restructure and recapitalize General Motors Corporation. It's the first item. So if your clients can avail themselves of the knowledge you had, we want to also. Mr. Bloom, you testified before this hearing on this committee on the Regulatory Affairs Subcommittee on June 22, 2011. At that hearing, I handed you 3 pages of questions. My staffer, Andy, who's going to hand them to you again, handed them to you at that hearing. Do you recall receiving these questions?
Yes.
Okay. I ask you if you would answer those questions, and let me refresh your memory as to what you said. Here's the video of you at that hearing.
Gentlemen, I presented both of you with lists of questions. Mr. Bloom, you received 25. Mr. Snowbarger, you received 30. I'm going to ask for your commitment that you review those questions and that you, to the best of your ability, provide me with answers. Do I have that commitment?
I will. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Bloom, your answer to me on June 22, 2011 was absolutely. I have not received one answer from you. Why haven't you answered me?
Subsequent to the time before I had a chance to answer, I left government service.
So your answer changed because you left government service?
I did not feel it was appropriate that I continue to involve myself in this matter after I left government service.
Well, clearly this committee views that otherwise, as do the taxpayers. You had great responsibility, as also your current firm indicates and advertised you as the senior advisor at the U.S. Department of Treasury, where he helped lead the restructuring of General Motors. I mean, it's your accountability to the taxpayers. Will you commit, as you did in that hearing, to answer these questions now?
I'm here today, and if there are questions I can answer, I will do it.
Will you commit in writing to answer these questions as you did under oath in that hearing on June 22nd? I
will answer the questions I can answer today.
So we'll just keep you here, and I'll just orally ask you the questions with the Chairman's approval then. Mr. Feldman, we have a number of your coworkers' emails that also can help you refresh your recollection. When we get to the SIGTARP's reason for wanting to speak to you, Ms. Romero states, SIGTARP believes that the Auto Task Force played a role in the pension decision, and these individuals' failure to speak on this issue poses a significant obstacle. Mr. Feldman, do you agree that you played a role in the pension decisions?
I don't think I agree that I played a role in the pension decisions. I certainly spoke regularly to the PBGC and to General Motors regarding the Delphi pension issues.
Did you ever speak to people at the White House concerning this issue?
Brian Deese, who was at that time at the White House, was a regular member of our team, and the team reported to Larry Summers and Tim Geithner, and obviously Mr. Summers or Dr. Summers was at the White House at that time. Could
you please put up slide 6? This is Joseph House of PBGC, his email following his conversation with you, where he says that you reported that you made progress discussing our proposal with a number of key folks in Treasury and at the White House, but he has not yet wrapped up his coordination. This would be the issue of the pensions. PBGC's emails indicating, and we have several, including this one, that indicate your role as on the auto task force of coordinating the issue of the pensions. Do you disagree with this email?
I don't disagree that I was the coordinator or facilitator of those issues. I think that's accurate to say.
Then what was your role that you just said a minute ago you didn't have one?
I think you asked whether I was a decision maker, and I was not a decision maker on these issues.
I asked you to describe what your role was. Would you describe that role for us, please?
Sure. I was the facilitator, coordinator of issues between General Motors and the PBGC, among other roles, regarding the Delphi pension issues.
And how does that role assist or affect PBGC and its participation in the bankruptcy process and in the decision affecting the pensions?
Well, the decision that the PBGC made with respect to the pensions was independent of anything that Treasury or I had to say to the PBGC. The issue vis-a-vis the PBGC and Delphi was what claims the PBGC would have in the Delphi case, what liens they would purport to have over assets of Delphi, particularly the foreign assets of Delphi, and that had a large impact on Delphi's future and obviously on GM's future.
So, Mr. Feldman, you played a role in determining the either claiming or releasing of PBGC liens on General Motors Delphi assets in the bankruptcy process with respect to these pensions.
That's not correct.
That's what I heard you say. Please clarify it.
Well, let me be very clear. I urged the PBGC to come to decisions in a rapid manner because it had the potential to hold up General Motors' emergence, but I did not advocate for positions vis-a-vis the PBGC. I played the role of a facilitator or mediator, if you will, between the PBGC and General Motors.